Evening, my name's Kevin Graham. I'm joined by Laura and Brian, and welcome to the post-match against Real Betis. And I've just realised that I haven't put the banner up. Man, I'm going to get the sack for that.
That's game over, Paul.
I know. I'll need to ask you a question, then you'll see me typing away, bringing up the banner. Right. Basically, there's so much to unpack in that game. There's really so much to unpack. It was a dead rubber. The Celtic B team proved that we haven't got any rubber soles, but we could have rubber hammies the way it's actually gone. Laura, what's your overall impression of that game tonight?
Well, I'm going to just step back and show everybody what I was wearing for this game tonight, which is my Kyogo Christmas jumper. Thought it was going to bring us some luck, and it did in some ways, but it didn't in other ways. It was a bit of a roller coaster of a game, to be honest, especially that second half. I was just saying to you and Brian before we came on air, if it had mattered at all, I think I'd have been having a heart attack, because so much of what was good about Celtic was on display tonight, and so much of what was bad about us was equally on display. It was just every time we did something good, we left ourselves open to something bad. And yeah, the injuries is another thing I want to get into entirely, because there comes a point where you've got to say it's not all just bad luck, but I'm sure we'll get to that anyway.
Brian, what's your overall view of the game? I mean, we finished the Europa. I was going to say Champions League there. Champions League. We finished the Europa League group section with 9 points. 9 points, and we're still looking at the Conference League.
I know, if you listened, we'd have took that at the start of the season. You know, we'd been able to believe we'd been in this position. And the fact is, a very weakened Celtic side beat Real Betis 3-2 in a European night parkhead. So that's your sort of headlines. That's the real positives. Other positives were, I thought, the attitude for the players was excellent. I thought they really dug in. The guys coming on that hadn't played for a while, you know, there was no fault in the effort. The team played with an identity, if, you know, without some of the sort of position you would want. So overall, positive result, feeling happy, enjoyed the game, although parts of it were heart and mouth stuff. None more so than when Kyogo went in. That's the real one. And as positive I always am about Ange and about Celtic this season, he's not infallible, and putting Kyogo on tonight was a real massive risk. And now we don't know if it was taken back, if he's just hurt himself a wee bit and been taken off, and it's with caution. We don't know if it's a hamstring injury and he's going to be out for a few weeks. But it could really affect this month's really crucial for us. And if Kyogo's out and it's because we played him in this dead rubber, that's a real black mark in the Jota for the big fella. However, we don't know how serious it is or not, and the overriding emotion is positivity. I think we played really well against a decent side, great result. A few players, I think, done themselves no harm, but that's the real worry for this game, unfortunately. The dark cloud is the Kyogo injury.
It is the worry, Laura. When Kyogo was coming off and he done that flick of the hair down over his face, you were just going, oh no. It's almost as if he knew himself. But we do not know. We need to actually all pray to whatever God you're going to pray to that he's actually fine. There's two ways to look at this. Brian's given Big Ange a black mark. Are you giving Big Ange a black mark for bringing on Kyogo when basically he's only fit striker in the football club?
Yeah, well, I mean, I was going to say exactly that. I can see exactly where Brian's coming from, but at the same time, like you say, that we didn't really have another option. My only saving grace about the way that Kyogo came off the pitch was, and this is skating awfully close to a topic that's been topic of discussion for a few weeks, is he can be a bit dramatic sometimes. Like, he can be absolutely gutted sometimes when it doesn't entirely like warrant the like dismay that he's feeling. And I just hope that he was just really disappointed and that actually it's not as bad as he maybe thinks or that it looked, because We really, really need him for the next few matches. We really need him, especially in January against Rangers. It's just, if there was one or two players out of the entire squad that you want to say, we need to get through this period unscathed with the two of them, it would be him and McGregor probably. But if you're doing without them, and we've already lost Jota, it's, like Brian said, it's almost a black cloud hanging over what should be a much more positive feeling, given that at the end of the day we have won 3-2 in what was a really exciting match.
Definitely. I mean, I'm going to bring up the comment with Brian Walsh, and we should all be not ecstatic, but over the moon that a Celtic B side actually looked good. Brian Welsh, I found it really impressive the way the personnel were almost entirely different, but the game plan and style of play transitioned seamlessly. That bodes well for the heavy schedule ahead. Brian, I says yesterday when you were off on your Christmas night out, I says it didn't matter what Ange was going to do tonight. He was going to be right in some eyes and wrong in other eyes. It looks like he's took a gamble tonight and it's backfired, eh?
Well, yes and no. He's took a gamble putting Kyogo on.
That's what I meant.
But other than that, I think you have to say he got so much else right. So on balance, one bad decision against several that were good. Although I say he's got a black mark against his name, that's because I've got him on a pedestal. So it is just it's a very small black tick column. But Brian's comments absolutely spot on, because the team, and you alluded to it in the pre-match, they played like Celtic under Postecoglou, with the exception of they didn't have the crispest of passing towards the end, especially with Shaw, who I thought done pretty well, but he's no Turnbull, he's no McGregor. Sorrell wasn't great, but even despite that, it was still a decent performance, and we played with an identity, which is, we've been crying out for that for a long time. So it does bode well that, guys, I thought Scales showed up well. I thought Montgomery done well. I thought Ewan Henderson done well when he came on. Considering he's played very little football. So there is, positives to take for tonight as well, obviously, apart from just the result, because given how bad we are with injuries, we're going to have to rejig. And, what we're talking about, if Kyogo was injured for a few weeks, you're going to have to go with a bad up front.
Well, Brian, let's have a look at it. If we're going to question Postecoglou tonight, he had options there. He could have put Abada through the middle, and he could have put Mikey Johnson out wide. There was options on the bench, even though there wasn't a out-and-out centre forward. Jim Orr on the Friday with Laura has been shouting for Abada to go through the middle for weeks, and tonight was the night when it could have happened. And we brought on Ewan Henderson and a forward area tonight, so there was options there. So I know we're looking at this with utter hindsight, but it just looks like a poor decision now bringing on Kyogo.
Aye, it does, and again I think, and I say it's easy for us to sit here and say, oh, it's obvious you should have done this. In the moment, you don't know what the feeling is. So, but I think what we're looking at now, if he is injured, is Abada through the middle, Mikey Johnson out right probably, and Henderson out left, which is certainly a real issue when you're probably your two best players this season, and Jota and Kyogo might be out for the most important period of the season. But we don't know at this stage. It's just conjecture. Kyogo might be all right. As Laura says, maybe he is quite a dramatic wee guy. He's a funny wee character sometimes, and he's maybe it's looked worse than it was, and he wasn't struggling off holding his leg and stuff like that. It just obviously, I think it's maybe more a precaution. But again, we'll need to see. Do we know? Can we call up anyone from the B squad for the league? How does that work?
I seem to have a recollection that there was rules that allowed us to do that. I don't know what the details are of it or how many we can call up, but I think there is some flexibility around it. I would need to look up exactly what it was, though.
We might need to get maybe Wee Moffat and the boy Dawson and get them up as attacking options, which is, maybe good for them but terrifying for us. But we've got to hope there's some way around that and try and get some other bodies on the bench.
As we're talking about hindsight here, and we're also actually trying to predict the future. If we could all predict the future, we wouldn't be like working, and we would be beating the bookies if we could predict the future. So I think we need to actually just move on and let's focus on the positives tonight. I'm going to talk about one big positive, and that was a big fella at right back, big Uragidi. What a setting half he had, eh? He was superb rampaging up and down that right wing. He looks a bit uncomfortable at times, eh? But man, the guy's got heart, Laura, eh?
I thought he was great. He actually had one, I can't remember exactly when it was in the match, but he had one really good tackle against Iglesias where he chased him down and kind of grabbed the ball off him, kind of Didi Agat style, where he got in like behind him and slid in. And he seems to be, and I hate to use all these cliches and stuff like that, but he's such a big unit of a boy that like I could see him being a really solid centre back. The only thing I would say that is kind of giving me the fear a bit now is that he just looks a bit sort of ungainly, I think is the word I'm looking for. Just occasionally his limbs are going in every which direction, and sometimes he doesn't even know where they're going, and it's enthusiasm over skill sometimes. But I would rather have that than have a guy that looks like he's not bothered one way or another. So yeah, I was really encouraged by what I saw. I think it's a good sign for the future, considering compared to the player he was in August, he's come on leaps and bounds, and that's only 4 or 5 months. So I think a bit more work under Ange, a bit more tutelage, he could be a decent player for us going forward. And if you'd asked me if I was going to say that before the start of the match tonight, I'd have probably laughed in your face.
I'm got ACSOM technology. Welcome back, mate. Uragidi's physicality and headed clearances can be an asset in the SPFL. Brian, I'm going to say 2 words. Bobo Baldy.
Aye, but the thing is, Bobo Baldy was never a right back, was he? And I think that's to me, I said it at the start of the game. He looks like he could be a real asset at centre half, but he's never a right back for me. And he done decent right, but he still looks for me like a player at a position. I think he's a better option at centre half than Beaton, if I'm honest. Although Beaton done all right tonight, I think I would have Uragidi there before him, and that's a huge compliment because I thought he was rotten in pre-season. I didn't fancy him at all, but as Laura says, the improvement in him since then has been good, so that it bodes well that he's taking these things on and say, at centre half, I think he could be a player. Right back, no for me. I just don't think he offers enough going forward, especially in the way we play. But the guy's got to be proud of himself, and as we said as well, his attitude was brilliant. He was putting his body on the line, throwing himself about. Nice bit of banter between him and Beaton. And Beaton gave a wee kick up the backside for planting him on the ground. Tell you what, how the two of them managed to get up for that, I'm delighted. But
my car says Bobo would have killed Beaton.
Bobo would have got him. I said, you're a positive display tonight from him, but I think still in the wrong position.
What I'm going to say is Adam comes in, Uragidi had decent runs. Uragidi's going to get you. When I was mentioning Bobo Baldy there, Laura, I was kind of a wee bit tongue in cheek, but I'm talking about physicality. And even on the telly, he looked massive. As I says in the pre-game, when we played against West Ham, he was the only one that physically matched the West Ham side. And when you look at the teams that we've maybe put out this season, you had Uragidi tonight, you had Liam Scales tonight, and you had Liam Shaw, all over 6 foot. And that was a change of dynamic and size physically to the Celtic team as well. And I thought all 3 of them done well. I really did.
Yeah, I think it's been a big criticism of the midfield that we usually go out with McGregor, Turnbull and Rogic, that Turnbull and Rogic in particular are not particularly physically imposing. Rogic, even though he's got the kind of stature that would make you think he was. But to go out there tonight with Shaw and Beaton in the midfield, you felt and that they were going to kind of boss it, which they did for periods of the game. Sorrow's contribution was better in the second half. The first half, he had all the problems that we all know Sorrow's got, namely that he kind of runs around like a headless chicken, flying into every challenge going. And I think possibly he was calmed down in the halftime team talk and came out and looked all the better for it in the second half. But I don't know. I think in general, like the more players that you name and the more you go through the team from tonight, the more I'm thinking to myself, you know, before tonight, if you'd said to me Urhoghide or Shaw or Scales or, you know, various other ones were coming into the team because of injuries, I'd have, you know, kind of been hedging my bets. But actually after tonight, I think we've probably need to put a bit more faith in the squad as a whole. I think we've got players there that can certainly do something. I mean, you're talking about, okay, I didn't think they were great shakes, but you're talking about the team that are third in La Liga. If they're playing against them in that manner, then they can surely handle anybody in the domestic game.
I tell you one thing though, Laura, I would pay to watch Joaquim every week. Every day of the week, I would pay to watch Joaquim. What an absolute football player, and he's only 6 years younger than me, which is absolutely frightening. Absolutely frightening, man, that he's still running about a football park at 40 years old. Well, let's have a Niall Murray. Urhoghide is a cross between Beckenbauer and Ugo Ekiog.
Wow.
That is two names I would never have guessed, would never have put in the same sentence. Beckenbauer and Ugo Ekiog. Let's talk about the guy Scales. Bold Highland Paddy comes on. Scales was very good. Win the Tim. Scales barely missed a pass. We bummed him up pre-game, Brian. He didn't know what I was doing, did he?
No, he played really well tonight. Actually, again, thought it was a really good attitude. He looks so composed in the ball. He never looks hassled or harried. I don't know if it's just his body language or whatever, but he looked very comfortable all the time during the game. Strong, fast, good passer. You know, determined to get forward and attack. I really like the look of him. I don't know. I think he staked a claim to maybe start ahead of Taylor all the time. I think Taylor's still first choice, but he's a solid backup option. Independent of the opposition, you might fancy giving him a chance just to add that bit of height into the back four. Very, very impressed. Thought he'd done well. What's your take on McCarthy tonight?
I thought he tried certain things and completely disappeared for the game. There's no one game. It's not a game that he'll fondly remember, and it's probably another game, Laura, where anybody that's got doubts about him in a Celtic jersey has got more reason to have doubts about him in a Celtic jersey, Laura.
Yeah, I mean, I've taken a bit of stick for saying this in the past, but I'll say it again because hey ho, I'm going to get the stick anyway. McCarthy for me is one of these situations where he's been in the Premier League for so long and he's only 30 years old that my summation of it is if he was still good enough to be in the Premier League, he would still be there. He wouldn't have jumped at the chance to get a 4-year deal off Celtic, which I think on reflection maybe looks like he's thought to himself, you know, I could get another couple of years at a lower Premier League or Championship team and then go to Celtic, or I could take what they're offering me and get a 4-year deal that's way above anything that I would expect to get anywhere else. I think basically he's taken the deal for his own good, which is entirely his right as a professional footballer, but it's certainly not going to benefit us for the full duration of that contract. I don't think you'll see much from next season, and certainly not any time after that. I just think every time that he's come into the team, he's looked like a guy who struggles to maintain fitness, struggles to keep up with the pace of the game, and just isn't of the standard that we need, unfortunately.
I mean, I'm willing to give him time, but we've got to give him time. I think he's a punt that we can't afford not to work, just because of the amount of money that we've probably laid out of him. But again, Brian, it is disappointing when it's one of these nights you're expecting him to actually step up and give us a performance, and he fails to do it once again.
I mean, I don't think he was too bad in the first half. It's just that he completely disappeared in the second. It looked like he was done after like 50 minutes, which is a real concern because we're going to have to rely on bodies, as we've seen tonight, the squad. You know, and the first half I was liking what I was seeing. I thought he was breaking things up. I think he won the tackle that created the first goal. I thought he was quite aggressive. He was in the other players' faces and stuff, but he faded very quickly, and that's a bit of concern. So again, I'm willing to give most players the benefit of the doubt. So he's no different. I'll give him a chance and see, and hopefully, you know, he can get a turn. But he's not the future of the club, is he? I think he's there to kind of steady the ship if needed, but he's going to have to get up to speed pretty sharp, given the injuries. Because I think one of the things that people have been talking about with the injuries is, I think, Laura, you touched on it before we come on air, it seems just like because we don't have that bigger squad and we're playing so much and we're having to play the same players all the time, I think it's tiredness and muscle fatigue is causing the injuries. Now, I'm by no means any sort of medic or physician, but it seems common sense that, you know, that's maybe the reason. It seems like muscle fatigue. But the problem we've got is we're not in a position where we can really be resting people generally, but we don't have, and that's that thing, that balance. Because say we're playing against Motherwell, right? And we decide to we don't get any injuries tonight, but we rest a few players, rest Kyogo, rest Jota, blah, 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 and we get beat. We can't afford to be losing points in the league, but we're also kind of grinding players down because we need to play them all the time. So, you know, it really reinforces the importance of January in this window for me. And I don't think it's the sports scientists, guys, and I don't think it's Ange or the coach's fault. I think it's just an indictment of the situation we're in squad-wise.
It is that. It's obviously we're just getting the comments through. Ange Postecoglou has been out doing this post-match, and it's not good news about Kyogo. He's saying that the hamstring is gone and he could be out for a while. RB 1888 comes. Ange just sounded terrible about Kyogo. It's not good, mate. The mate's not used in a good way there. He also says that the reason that he brought him on is we just haven't got the squad to cope. That is disappointing. We've lost Jota, we've lost Kyogo now. It is a busy period for us now, and it's looking like it's going to take its toll. But we'll have to try and have a look. We need to have a look at the forwards tonight. How did we think Mikey Johnson did when he came on, Laura?
I mean, I'm not the person to come to on Mikey Johnson, unfortunately. I want to be positive about this match because we won it and we beat Betis with a second string team, and that was fantastic. But people are going to say I'm being personal about Mikey Johnson. I'm never personal about any Celtic player. I only judge them on what I see on the pitch. He was fine tonight. He didn't, to use a phrase that Brian said earlier, he didn't like the header or anything like it. That chance where he was through on goal on his own, I mean, it probably tells you everything about the guy's confidence level that you need to know, to be honest. I'm not going to have a go at him for missing it. I think his confidence is rock bottom, because anybody with any ounce of confidence takes that on themselves and shoots and probably scores it. The fact that he even tried to pass it off to a younger guy with less experience just tells you everything you need to know, I think.
Definitely. I thought the one in the last minute when he was bursting through on goal and he tried to square, as you says, Laura, there was a particularly bad decision. His decision making just doesn't seem to be up to scratch. But you look what he done for the second goal when he set up Ewan Henderson for the second goal. That was a brilliant bit of play, Brian. So he has got it in his locker.
Do you know, we were talking about this on the match day watch along, and we're talking about Mikey Johnson, and I've been a wee bit kinder to him than some, just because he has got ability, but I likened him to Gary Mackay-Steven when we had him. He's got a player that's got ability, but you see the positives and negatives in such quick flashes. And tonight he done brilliantly to set up that goal, and then gives the ball away, and then they score. And then he's got the chance. It was flagged offside, but he took it well for what would have been the fourth goal. Mm-hmm. And then towards the end of the game, he's got a simple, he could have had a shot or play a simple ball through, and he fluffs it. So he's such a strange player to judge, because you look at me and go, there's a talent there, but I just don't think, as you say, his decision making is good enough to warrant a Celtic jersey. I don't, and it's not been harsh on the boy because he is a good player, but I just don't think he's a calibre. And he's 22 now. He's been in about the team for a while. If he doesn't get better quicker, he's never going to get better. But he did set up the goal. I think he done it okay, but decision making let him down. And given how thin you're going to be, especially up front, we can't be having players making bad decisions at crucial times like that, because it's going to cost us now more than ever, especially this next couple of weeks.
Definitely. Laura, we're going to need to actually look for solutions if Kyogo is out for the next couple of weeks, if Jota is out for the next couple of weeks. And has basically been saying in his post-match interview, we just haven't got the strength and depth. It's probably something that we all knew anyway, but on a night like this, where we've actually, with some of the young team have actually stepped up, some of the B players have actually stepped up. It's quite hard not to actually looking at with a kind of like feeling done about it, because we've lost our most important player, but we've got to hope that some of these guys new step up. We've got to hope Abada can cut it through the middle. We've got Tom Rogic to come back. We've got James Forrest to come back. We have got guys that can actually score goals. We need guys to step up to the plate now. We need new heroes. And I think tonight gave us enough hope that there's some guys in that squad that could actually step up and do a shift for us, Laura.
Well, I think Stephen Welsh is a hero, whatever way you cut it. He's absolutely fantastic.
Definitely.
I would have him in the team at any cost. Liam Scales is going the right way about becoming a Celtic hero. Urhoghide showed enough promise tonight that I would suggest he deserves more game time and will likely get it after this performance. Liam Shaw was as good as I thought he needed to be tonight. You know, there's plenty positives to take away from that tonight. Okay, there's this massive cloud hanging over us with Ajeti and Kyogo going off injured. It might end up that Jim Orr gets his wish and Abada is playing through the middle against Motherwell on Sunday. And I tell you, he will be at us in the group chat if Abada scores a barrel load of goals against Motherwell, and we'll have to take it in the chin. But I mean, yeah, I'm seeing a lot of comments here coming through saying that we've been awfully negative in that tonight. It's not that we're being negative. It's just the phrase I would use is I'm just a bit bummed out about the news about Kyogo. I think if we'd come away without injuries tonight in this performance, we'd be looking at it totally differently. But with the injuries on board, you're looking ahead going, how do we get through the next few games? But I tell you something, I'm glad of the performances that I've seen from some of those players tonight, because we're going to rely on them heavily in the next couple of weeks.
We are going to rely on heavily, Brian. I mean, I'm like, it's raining, but I'm dancing in the rain, because we've done really well on it. We've finished the Europa League group with 9 points. I'm looking forward to the Europa League draw. I'm looking forward to playing Motherwell on Sunday, because, injuries happen in football. They can happen at any can happen at any period whatsoever. I think all we're seeing is Angie's intense style of play and a heavy schedule just catching up on us. That's it. But we've got Motherwell on Sunday, and I mean, we just need to get on with it. That's what we need to do. We need to get on with it. And I'm not going to change my opinion, Brian. I know me and you had the same opinion that if we go into January still in touch, it's game on. And I still believe it's game on. And I'm looking forward to Sunday now.
Well, again, it's one of the things we've touched on in the past as well. So, yeah, of course. I mean, the thing about this, if I know I saw some in the comments saying Kyogo's only one player, and it goes, right, but we've also got another 2 strikers and they're injured as well. So that's the worry. I know he's only one player, I can do the math, but every player in the position is now injured. We're literally no strikers at the club, so that's the issue. But as Kev says, we're finished 9 points in the Europa League group stage, and I took that definitely start of the season. We're in touch. We've got the game against Motherwell, and the thing we also have to remember, and we also have to caveat these things. We're at the start of the journey. We're still at the start of the journey. I said you can't judge until you get 3 transfer windows. We've only had one. We're approaching the other, so let's see where we're at. But I've got to say, Kev, seen you put a positive spin on things, you did a real motivational thing. Kev Graham, house manager, you heard it here first.
No. I'm not. I can't leave Hibs out against Celtic. It might be the only way I get a ticket for the cup final, right enough if I apply for that job, eh? But let's have a look forward. We've got Motherwell. We've got Motherwell on Sunday. We'll probably bring back a full team. We are going to see a batter through the middle. I still think we'll have enough to beat Motherwell. They've then got the draw for the Europa Conference League on Monday, and the teams that we can get, the only one that hasn't been decided is the Spurs group, because obviously the Spurs game was cancelled this evening. So we can actually get Maccabi Tel Aviv, Partizan Belgrade. I wouldn't mind them. That's one for the Celtic Daz there. Bodo Glint, FC Randers, Slavia Prague, PAOK, Vitesse or Spurs, or Bal. There's a lot of big names there. There's a lot of teams that are going to give us a good challenge. There's also a couple of games I would quite fancy our chances of going through. Laura, who do you fancy out of that lot?
To be honest, if we avoid Bal and Spurs, I think we've got a pretty decent chance against most of the rest of them. It's like I can't think of any one of the other teams that are named there that you would go into it really fearing them. Obviously, Partizan Belgrade is one of those football cliches where it would always be a difficult away trip and that kind of thing. But I'm encouraged by it, and for anybody who says the conference is not worth its salt being in, at the end of the day, it's new, yes, and it's not where we would maybe want to be, but maybe it's where we need to be right now. Maybe it's the level that we're at, and any chance to see Celtic play a bit more European football after Christmas is one that I'll take, because at the end of the day,
Laura froze there.
Play against some.
She's either froze or she's posing. I'm not sure what one.
I don't know what's up on my internet tonight, but I'm just saying. I think it's a good shot for us. I think it's any chance to watch Celtic, I'll take.
I thought your hamstring had went there, Laura. Brian, what team would you fancy in the next round in the last 32 of the Conference League? Look, it's not where we want to be. It isn't where we want to be, but I'm not going to be arguing if it gets to the light nights and you're still in Europe.
Oh, definitely. I don't mind us being in the Conference League. It's obviously you prefer, more success, but we've still got European football after Christmas. Given where we're at the start of the season, you'll take it. See, to be honest, see the way I'm feeling about Celtic now. I don't care who we face. I think on our night we can be a match. I thought although we lost against Leverkusen away, I thought that performance was excellent against a very good side. And I think on a night at Parkhead, hopefully with a fully fit squad, we can be a match for anybody. So bring them on. I'm not that concerned about the draw. I think because the temptation is to pick the team that maybe Saturday and go for them, but as for past games that doesn't always work for us. So I'll be quite happy with whoever we get, and we'll look forward to it. And I think that'll be the message Andrew give the players as well. You take care of your game, you do what you do, and don't worry who it is you're playing.
Definitely. I mean, the finals in Albania, we've got a good friend who's the president of Albania. Declan's friend. So it could be written in the stars. We've got Europe to look forward to. We've got Sunday to look forward to. It's always happy being a Celtic fan. I want to thank everybody who's watched us this evening. The comments have been absolutely bizarre as usual, but some great comments. It's a strange game. It's a strange game to actually comment on straight after it because of the mixed emotions that we're actually suffering from. But Laura's back tomorrow with the Friday Bulletin. Is Jim and Tony on tomorrow?
Yeah, I believe we've got Alan from Celtic by Numbers as well, so he'll be on with us as well.
Thanks very much. See you later. Hail, hail.